Hello again. One of the recurring themes in right-wing political movements in this country, by which I mean those to the right of the Conservative Party, is the tendency of such parties to split into rival factions, often because some man is unwilling to be subordinate to another and wishes to be the unchallenged figurehead of some new party. The National Front was especially prone to this, of course. It seems to me to be more common with right-wing parties than left-wing ones. I don't recollect seeing this same phenomenon with left-wing communist parties, people like Socialist Workers' Party and so on. For these people, the ideology seems to be the thing, often almost invariably, in fact, with uh, parties to the right of the Conservatives, it centres around personality. We think about Mosley, of course, and the British Union of Fascists. I was prompted to think along these lines yesterday by the launch of not one, but two right-wing political movements, both headed by men who were deeply involved in Nigel Farage's Reform UK party. One of these is Ben Habib, who was a European MP and at one time deputy leader of Reform. He fell out with Nigel Farage and yesterday announced the formation of a new party which he is leading called Advance UK. It was thought by some that he might be starting this party with MP Rupert Lowe, who has also fallen out with Farage. But Lowe launched his own movement yesterday called Restore Britain. All this is very unfortunate for those of us who wish to see the destruction of both the Labour and Conservative parties and something completely new emerging from the ruins. I have no love at all for Nigel Farage, regarding him as a chancer only out for his own glory, but he seems to be the best bet for scotching the hopes of the two big parties at the next general election, and so I think it is worth throwing all our support in his direction and not letting it be diffused. Speaking personally, I think that Rupert Lowe has far more integrity than Nigel Farage and is a more honest and straightforward man. But he lacks the charisma which Nigel Farage has, and there's not the slightest chance of his becoming Prime Minister. There is a chance of Nigel Farage pulling this off, and so I think that we should stick with him. He cannot fail to be an improvement over Keir Starmer or Emmy Badenoch, and that alone is reason to throw our support behind him. He may well be a vain man who is driven more by personal ambition than principle. In fact, I'm sure he is, but that doesn't really matter. If we wish to change the direction in which this country is currently travelling, then Farage is the man we must vote for. For this reason, I hope that Ben Habib's Advance UK and Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain go the same way as Lawrence Fox's Reclaim Party, and that they fade into obscurity and stop distracting from the success of reform. Of course, those who would rather that we stuck with Starmer or Badenoch can always sabotage reform's present unstoppable momentum by joining one or other of these new movements, but tactically that would be a very bad move indeed.